So we have four very big old world wars that are occurring so far. We've got the African powers like the Congo and Ethiopia teaming up against Arabia. We've got the European powers going at it between Rome and Greece. We've got Korea and the Champa, and there's one more.
LOL, I had to say one more because I forgot. I forgot that war in the intro, and I had to actually look at the screen for a second. It's Babylon versus Byzantium. This is actually an older war, so I guess maybe that's my excuse why I forgot. Anyways, so over the break, I discovered a whole bunch of technologies. So we have 4 more spies. I'm spying on some of the most powerful. I'm not necessarily saying this is my top 5. It's definitely not. I just kind of was curious what was going on between these civs. I'm spying on the Inca. I'm still spying on the Congo, Rome, Russia, and the Sioux. So that's definitely not my power rankings. I love the people that are talking about power rankings in the comment section because it really, I mean, this needs to be a conversation more than we've had in the past. We have to talk rankings, and I need to know what you guys are thinking more than ever before because we do not have Info Addicts. Info Addicts is not going to be a part of this campaign. And of course, that is definitely a sacrifice that I'm willing to take, obviously having 60 plus civs in this campaign, but it's going to be a little bit harder. And I'm going to really like the debates that go on in the comment section because, we're going to, I don't know, it's going to be interesting. It's really going to be interesting because I know that there are things, I'm looking at the surface of things. I'm not looking deeper. I'm not actually looking at what Ethiopia is doing underneath the surface. And I'm sure there's some really interesting things going on in North America, even though this continent has been, for the most part, in a time of peace for hundreds of years. Technically, yeah, so I would say at least 100 turns, so hundreds of centuries, not hundreds of centuries, but a few centuries at least in terms of game time. But there might be some things that I'm missing because obviously we're just looking at wars. So that's just something to keep in mind, and that'll be good because I can kind of read your guys' feedback and see what you guys feel, how well each civ is doing. Anyways, so I did notice that the Sioux were traveling down the Atlantic Ocean to continue to colonize, more than likely the Caribbean. Actually, they've got 3 settlers, which is kind of crazy. So the Sioux obviously have run out of spots to settle. This is going to more than likely pull them into a war, though, with somebody that they're not able to defend against. So let's say that they do settle someplace here in South America. They will not be able to defend these cities, not from the Inca and not from Argentina, which is going to make things, I don't know, very interesting, which means that there might be a coalition that forms against the Sioux if they don't have a strong enough military. This might be the spot they're going for because it seems to be the only big spot here. Okay, so Novgorod finally took over this Portuguese city. Very good. That is good for them, although they still need to figure out a way to combine their empires together because, they could probably go after Greece if they get up the military. Here's the thing. Novgorod's looking pretty weak. I don't think we need to remind ourselves how strong Russia is, although Russia seems pretty distracted in the east, protecting their newly captured city, Attila's court. But I think it's safe to say that someone could easily roll into Novgorod and take them over pretty fast. Let's check on the Byzantine War. United Nations, or World Congress became the United Nations. I don't even know if there's any other wars that are going on. I doubt it. There's still a lot of conflicts that are occurring, so I don't think any new wars are going to pop up, but you never know. If a new war does pop up, it'll probably be with one of these kind of 9 civs that are in these direct conflicts. And I say direct conflicts because there are more wars than the ones that I've mentioned in the intro and in the gameplay intro there because I forgot the Babylon-Byzantium War. But these are the ones that are actually going to do the most damage to each military in the world. So it looks like Byzantium, I don't know, this is going to be interesting because they're both pretty behind in technology for the most part. We've got crossbowman versus crossbowman. If Babylon can get these riflemen to start melee attacking the city, then they might have a little bit more luck. How are the Romans doing? The Romans are distracted because Rotterdam is here in the north, and then they have Vienna out here in their east. So they're having a tough time, I think, trying to determine which city they should attack. It seems like they're also possibly running out of military units. Well, it's not that they're running out of military units, but they're definitely running thin. They need to worry about the Ashanti right now. The Ashanti are in a peace. They're in a time of peace. They're watching Rome. With their conflict against Greece, I don't think it's going to be a very clean war for them. I think Augustus is going to lose a lot of units, which means that the Ashanti might try to pick up these 3 Roman colonies in North Africa. which obviously Augustus will not be able to defend himself. So those are the two wars. Did Arabia take over? No, not yet. Ethiopia actually very, very close to taking over Damascus. Not very, very close, but it looks like he has a chance. He does. He has a very, very good chance of taking over Damascus, which would be a good foothold for Ethiopia since they're going to lose this area, this eastern city. Sodu, something like that. Novgorod and Portugal have peaced out. Now let's check on the Koreans and the Champa. And the Mongolians are finally starting to engage the Tibet Empire. And we do have the first initial few ships in conflict just off the coast of the Champa capital. So obviously these ironclads are going to do a ton of damage to all these kind of older boats out here in the coast. And there will be more ships coming. We've got frigates coming. We've got the turtle ships coming, which are out of date too, but they're still pretty powerful. We've got Kimberley still looking for a place to settle. They have 2 settlers out, actually. Maybe they'll be settling Hawaii as well. So the Boers versus Tibet. Okay, so that's the first war we've seen so far in this video. There goes Persia. Persia and New Zealand. Wait, did we make a comment about that? No, I don't think I did. I know I saw this city, but I don't know if I made a comment about Persia finding, I guess, the northern island of New Zealand, which is kind of cool. I wonder, I need to look into why New Zealand. That makes me assume, obviously, there's a Zealand somewhere, but where? And how could we make that New Persia, New Susa, New... I don't know how to say their capital name. I do, but I always forget whenever I look this up. We've got... Oh, okay, so there's a coalition against the Boer. That is what we're about to see. Arabia decided to join in, which the important thing here is, will Ethiopia or the Congo join in? Now, remember, both of those civs are at war, and they're distracted by the Arabian Peninsula. You know, the Boer might be lucky here, and they might take some cities if... Well, I mean, I don't know. They're behind in technology, so I don't know. But they could get lucky and take 1 or 2 cities. This city is pretty much surrounded if Ethiopia decides to start up this war. The Chinook and Mongolia. I did discover uranium, you'll see, as we pass by some of the tiles that will have a green tint to them. So that will be uranium. So clearly Ethiopia has uranium for now, but that's like right along the coast, so right along this Congo border. So that could change hands at any point. It's actually very likely, I think, that it would probably change hands. Okay, let's see how Ethiopia does. Will they take Damascus? Like I said, they do desperately need this city. And this city won't get taken because there's no melee unit nearby. But Damascus will fall to Ethiopia in the next turn. How's Babylon doing? Still engaging Theodora. But no one has really got anything going just yet. We've got Russia and Portugal piecing out. Novgorod moving through Greek territory. Now, off the top of my head, I can't remember. Novgorod is definitely not at war with Rome, I don't believe. There's no way. So I don't know what Novgorod is doing with their military. It's probably not the best decision. But did they get open borders through... They technically might not have gotten open borders through Russia, but it seems likely that they got this number of troops. They had to have gotten open borders through Russia. But, you know, who knows? They definitely have it through Poland. Really like what Poland's doing right now. Okay, so we've got Novgorod declaring war on the Boer. But this has been something actually that we've been waiting for a long time. I've been waiting for someone to take out the Boer for a while now, but I didn't know who was gonna do it. It's actually pretty important for one of these 2 African nations to take them down, no matter who it is. Oh, Mongolia pieced out Tibet without taking this city. Ouch. That is going to slow down Mongolia. I mean, they already lost 2 to the Japanese. And I really like that. Ooh, Russia is attacking somebody. And I believe, isn't Russia and Mongolia at war? I know that they were at war. Maybe that was a while ago. But I know that they were at war, so I don't know. Excuse me. So I don't know if they pieced out. I cannot remember off the top of my head. But they better be careful. Mongolia better be careful. We've got Ethiopian settlers, so there's a lot of late-game colonization that's going on. Let's not technically turn 300 just yet, but we're getting there. How is Rome doing? Again, if Greece can defend themselves from Augustus just briefly for just a few more turns, honestly, I think it's very likely that we'll see... Well, I mean... It's not. I don't know. I'm not saying. I don't know why I said likely because I don't know where I was going with that. It's would be big if they were to defend their cities, because I think this would be the start. This is it for Rome. Either Rome wins this war and takes a bunch of cities from Greece, or they don't. And I don't think we'll ever see that strong of a power come out of Europe in this campaign. It's unlikely, I don't think, because I think that these three North African Roman cities are doomed to fall. They're doomed to fail at some point to the Ashanti. So you're talking about at least 3 cities with 5, 4, and 3 population all dropping. And who knows, some of these island cities might fall. I mean, if you've got island cities on, I'm not sure exactly what island this is, but we've got it on Corsica, Sardinia, Sicily. These might fall too, because I don't think the Romans are really prepared to take on the Ashanti. So Rome desperately needs this. They need this to stay ahead of the game, because the Ashanti could start to roll over Europe. There's actually a lot of theories in the comment section about how a lot of people think the Ashanti are the strongest by far in this campaign, even though technically they're not winning in score and they're not really winning in any of the demographics, because they might have an awesome opportunity to attack a weak Rome and roll into Europe. And then obviously if Rome falls, nobody in Europe is going to be able to stop the Ashanti. That is a really, really good theory. I think that definitely works. Babylon's going to be losing a lot of troops here. But does that get Russia to join in against Byzantium, or does that get Persia to join in against Babylon? We don't know. What the heck? Istanbul still is not finished? Well, Germany clearly obviously needed to annex Istanbul since that's their only city. However, it's still occupied. They still have not done the courthouse just yet. I mean, it seems like Babylon and Persia's relationship is still pretty high, since they do have open borders. Ashanti and Portugal have peaced out, which is big because that means that Ashanti is not doing anything. They are no longer, I think, in any major wars. I'm surprised that the Ashanti actually didn't attack Lisbon here. That wouldn't have been a bad decision at all. They probably don't have open borders with Rome, so I don't think any of these cities out this way could have gotten ships involved. Argentina and Colombia is also a big one. That is another big war that I think that it should definitely be taken note of. Since these two are probably, it seems like the Argentina is probably going to take over Colombia. I don't know if I said Argentina right. Did I mispronounce that? Mispronounce that? I don't know. Inca have a lot of troops here in northern South America. What do we have? What do we see? I know that these things don't really matter that much, but we've got the Inca plotting against the Shoshone. Interesting. We've got Rome plotting against, is this, Norway. Okay. Sitting Bull plotting against the Iroquois. That's a pretty one. That's an interesting kind of gateway into North America. A really peaceful continent at the moment. And Russia is plotting against Poland. They're all plotting. So they haven't necessarily launched any attacks. Still waiting to see what America's going to do. America pretty much with like the 13 colonies here almost. It'd be nice to see them kind of unite their territory here in Cuba by taking out this city in Florida. But that would obviously require them to go to war with the Sioux. And actually the Sioux seem to be, I don't know if they just don't have enough money to upgrade, but they have got half riflemen, half musketmen. Which is weird. Maybe Texas. Texas seems kind of weak compared to America. But maybe that's just because America is forced to be more consolidated with their units. They're forced to stay all along this region. But this continent, North America, is about to blow up. It is about to explode into war. Because there are so many units over here, and there's still so much land to be taken over. I'm actually most excited to see North America break out into war, just because they've been at peace for so long. Clearly, America is still trying to take over the Mayans, but I don't think that's going to work out too well. The Inca are going to try to find a spot to settle as well. I don't think the Sioux are going to stumble upon anything. Maybe down here towards the Cape of Good Hope, but that's the only thing I can think of. This is a very interesting, unique unit. How are the Koreans doing in their naval war? I mean, they've broken through. I mean, there's only 3 ships that remain inside of Champa territory. But the Koreans aren't necessarily diving in to attack this city. I mean, one of the problems is there's so many range units along the coast. You've got cannons, you've got crossbowmen that will do tons of damage, even to an ironclad that's probably slightly ahead of the game in terms of technology out there in the ocean. Ethiopia, very smart, continuing to settle the Indonesian islands, since Indonesia did not pick them up. But obviously, that might cause for some great wars between Indonesia and Ethiopia, which would be pretty cool. Now, does Ethiopia have any coastal cities? They must. They do. Damascus still has not been taken over yet. How is that a thing? How has that not been taken over? That's very strange. Well, they should. I'm guessing next turn they'll finally get the job done, because they've got multiple melee units. They probably lost a melee unit. That's probably what happened. Looks like Novgorod is at war with Byzantium. I think that's what they're doing. And Babylon is not having a good time here, and they won't have a good time. So it's clear to me that both of these civs are going to lose a big majority of their military, which means who else joins in? Now, I think luckily for the Byzantine Empire, Russia is distracted. They're distracted by something in the east. I don't know if it's Mongolia or not, but maybe it is. How's Vietnam doing? Surprised Vietnam also hasn't just kind of crushed Tibet just yet. Vietnam seems to be the power out of the southeastern region of Asia, but they also have stayed relatively quiet with their own actions. And Kimberley moving up north. Maybe they're going, oh, here's... That Novgorod settler has been moving throughout like the entire world. That is crazy. He has been going for a long time. Multiple videos. Oh, and they're sending another one over this way. Sweden at war with Greece, I believe. It's interesting because the wars are starting to become more... people are able to move through lands, I think, a little bit easier now. Maybe ideologies hasn't necessarily just thrown the world into chaos. Even though a lot of civs have denounced a lot of other civs, there still seems to be some that are working together, some that are open to open borders, I guess you could say, open to military access, which is kind of interesting. Let's see what Rome does. Let's see how Rome decides to attack this Greek Empire. Looks like they're going to give up on Rotterdam. Rotterdam's still in resistance for 2 more turns. I mean, they're still trying to attack it. They're actually lining this city with cannon units. However, they're not going to be able to attack across this hill, except for with this guy. That's a hill. They'll be able to attack here. With only two cannon units, they'll be able to attack. I mean, that's a start, but that's not enough. They're going to need at least 3 or 4 at the very least. And Greece has done a really good job so far at protecting themselves. I mean, I don't know if I should give that much credit to Greece. Maybe we should give more credit to Augustus and his failed attempts at trying to find a realistic military strategy. That's probably the case, a little bit more. And Damascus still is not falling. Oh, here it will. Still nothing. I don't know why the city is able to grow its strength back up so fast. And no one is able to take Sodu. Really want to see what Persia's going to do. But anyways, guys, we're going to return past turn 300. So we will see what happens. I don't think any cities will be taken. But we will see. Arabia versus Argentina now. Interesting. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. And I will see you guys next time.